Imagine this on a normal day. A natural gas explosion rocks the town, destroying homes and businesses in its path. The devastation was huge, leaving people wondering how something like this could happen. Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today we explore the tragedy and mystery surrounding the Hutchinson natural gas explosion. It was a day like any other in this peaceful community, until a sudden blast ripped through the calmness, leaving chaos and devastation in its way. The explosion, caused by a natural gas leak, destroyed homes, shattered windows, and shattered the sense of security that once enveloped the town. Natural gas explosions in the central Kansas town of Hutchinson killed 2 people, destroyed 2 downtown businesses, and created a series of geyser-like spouts of water and gas. This tragic incident occurred on the morning of January 17, 2001. It was an ordinary Wednesday in Hutchinson, Kansas. Parents were at work and children were in school. Everything was normal until an explosion occurred downtown at Decor, a party supply store, and the neighboring appliance store, Woody's. Initially, it was assumed a local gas leak was responsible, but then 3 miles away, a geyser of mud and rock shot 30 feet into the air and natural gas began pouring out of the ground. No one knew why the ground was erupting or where the next explosion might occur. Hutchinson is located in central Kansas with a population of approximately 40,000 people. It is known for hosting the Kansas State Fair and housing the Cosmosphere Space Museum. However, it's also known as Salt City because of the salt mines located 600 feet below the city. The salt mine covers 980 acres and stretches 150 miles if each chamber were arranged in a line. The salt is blasted and mined in a room and pillar mining fashion, creating large square caverns and leaving pillars to support the rock above in a checkerboard pattern. This produces rock salt. Additionally, Cargill and Morton salt mines are located in Reno County, where Hutchinson is the county seat. These mines use solution and evaporation processes to produce table salt and salt used by pharmaceutical companies, food processors, and agricultural and chemical businesses. The mine can be accessed by the Strata Museum, which is the only underground salt mine accessible by tourists in the United States. The salt mine also serves as a natural preservation site, housing many artifacts including the original camera negatives of Gone with the Wind and Ben-Hur, as well as other Hollywood artifacts and important historical documents. No one thought that the salt mines could lead to one of the most terrifying events in Hutchinson's history, creating a mystery that would question the safety of mining practices, the mine itself, and life in Hutchinson. On the morning of January 17th, Fire Chief Dill from the nearby McPherson Fire Department and Fire Chief Patterson were in a meeting at the firefighter training office at 18 East B Street when an explosion shook the ground and rattled the pictures on the wall. The 2 fire chiefs ran outside to see a plume of smoke rising into the air just to the northwest. They did not wait for an alarm or any emergency call, as it was clear their expertise was needed. They jumped into their vehicles and headed to the base of the now billowing column of smoke, signaling the need for their immediate assistance. An explosion had rocked the party supply store, smashing the brick walls and sending brick, rock, and debris into the street. The compression wave from the explosion was powerful enough to shatter glass more than a block away. The ceiling collapsed on the store manager, Colleen Beal, who was buried in debris. Luckily, no one was in the back of the store where the blast occurred. Colleen escaped the debris, and everyone in Decor and Woody's made it out to the street with minor injuries. Outside, everyone was accounted for, but the fire raged on. While the fire chiefs were driving to the site of the explosions, alarms began blaring at the fire stations, and the firefighters jumped into their engines and headed out. Firefighter Mike Manders was driving one of the fire engines that was first on the scene. By the time we got around the corner to Decor, there was bricks scattered throughout the street, and people were running from buildings, getting in their cars and leaving. There was a big column of smoke at the back of the building. We pulled up, set our ladder up, and started throwing mortar on it. When the firefighters arrived, they examined the fire. It was clear that the fire was fed by pressure and gas. The most obvious scenario was a break in the local gas line. The firefighters contacted the local utility company and told them that a line was broken and requested that the gas be turned off. The company immediately shut off the gas in a 2-block radius surrounding the fire, but nothing happened. The fire still raged. Communicating with the utility company that there was still gas, the utility company assured them that the gas was cut off. The utility company sent personnel to the site and after shutting off the gas to a wider area, realized that this fire was not coming from a leak in the local utility system. This was something else. No one knew where it was coming from or why. Initially, there were no other accidents, so there were no other emergencies. They blocked off the area and focused on the issue at hand. However, because they did not know the origin of the gas and why it had caught fire, they could not rule out it happening at other locations. The unknown caused great worry around the small town. Later that evening, a geyser erupted, spewing mud and rock 30 feet into the air. The geyser erupted 3 miles from the site of the explosion. Furthermore, the ground began to sink at some locations, and in other locations around town, the ground cracked open and briny water spewed from the cracks. This sent the town into a panic. No one could predict when or where the next fire or the next explosion would occur. First responders were flying around town from one location to the next, trying to figure out what was going on. It was clear that there was a huge well of natural gas that spanned miles across the city and beyond. However, where was it coming from, and how was it getting to the surface? Most importantly, where would it erupt next? The firefighters and engineers also discovered that the natural gas being released was unprocessed, mostly methane and odorless. Before natural gas is transported for commercial and personal use, it undergoes an odorization process where a chemical odorant is injected into the gas. The odorant typically has a rotten egg-like smell. This odorant is added to otherwise odorless combustible gases because the smell is easily recognizable. Anyone in their homes or industry will detect the smell and know immediately if there is a gas leak or if they have simply left a burner on in their kitchen. This made it undetectable without sensing equipment, leaving residents anxious about whether their homes might be next. The next morning, January 18, emergency personnel were still battling the downtown fire. People went to work and children went to school as usual, unaware of the danger. At the Big Chief Mobile Home Park, John and Mary Hand started their day like everyone else, not knowing that a crack had opened beneath their home. This crack allowed natural gas to build up under their mobile home, which had a skirt around it to trap heat during winter. Unfortunately, this skirt also trapped the gas. When John and Mary lit their stove, the gas ignited, causing an explosion that mortally injured them. They were taken to the hospital, where they both died. This second major explosion threw the town into further panic. Authorities evacuated a 2-mile radius around the mobile home park, closed schools, and sent people home from work. The threat of another explosion was now very real, and the town was in a state of fear and uncertainty. Meanwhile, 7 miles northwest of the explosion site, at the Yagi underground natural gas storage facility, a dramatic pressure drop was noticed in the storage 1 jug, which held about 60 million cubic feet of gas. The facility had 62 jugs in total, holding 3.5 billion cubic feet of gas. The storage 1 jug was located below an impermeable layer, so the gas should not have been able to reach the surface. Yet the pressure drop indicated a leak. Kansas Geological Survey engineer Sabal Bhattacharya estimated that it should take a few days for gas to filter through the ground from the S1 jug to Hutchinson. The S1 jug had been filled and pressurized 3 days before the explosion, suggesting a link. With this information, engineers realized there must be a leak at the S1 storage facility. Although they knew the gas source early on, they could not determine where gas pockets were forming under the city. To control the situation, they needed to release the gas pressure in a controlled manner. KES drilled in various locations, but only 8 out of 36 wells struck gas. They set up flares to vent the gas they found and continued to search for more pockets. A camera sent down the gas supply line of the S1 jug revealed a large slice in the pipe at 600 feet. Gas was leaking from this slice and somehow reaching the town through old brine wells. A map of known brine wells around town did not include all possible wells, some of which were unknown. For instance, excavation under Decore and Woody's later revealed an old brine well sealed up but previously drilled for a hotel spa. With many such wells around town, they now understood how the gas was getting to the surface. To find how the gas was traveling from S1 to the wells, KES ran a seismic reflection line between the Yaji facility and the town. They discovered that the gas was moving along an impermeable dolomite layer with a permeable shale layer above. It was concluded that fractures in the dolomite layer allowed the gas to escape into the shale layer, although these fractures were never directly observed. More flares were set up to vent the gas. Evacuees were allowed to return home more than 2 months after the disaster began. The quick response by KES and KGAS in reducing pressure and preventing more explosions was praised. Without their actions, there likely would have been more explosions and deaths. Since 2001, no gas has been found emitting from the ground in Hutchinson, Kansas. This event became a significant part of Hutchinson's history, demonstrating the hidden dangers beneath the surface and the importance of quick, effective responses to emergencies. The Hutchinson salt mine disaster remains a true mystery and a reminder of the unpredictability of natural and manufactured systems. Thank you for joining us today as we explore the tragedy and mystery of the exploding town. Remember to like and subscribe for more content like this.